Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you so much for tuning in to another video where we're going to be looking at Gotham Knights. And in this video, we're going to be exploring one of the characters that I feel might be making a return in this particular story in some form or the other, and that is Bane. But before I jump into the content, I want to go ahead and ask for your support. If you enjoy the content, feel free to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, whatever it is you want to do. Let me know in the comment section if you enjoy the content as well. And that's basically it. Now, Bane. This character showed up in Arkham Asylum, showed up in Arkham City, did not show up in Arkham Knight, but showed up in Arkham Origins. Now, I think Rocksteady may have already been done with the character in some form or the other. I think they wanted to retire the character, or there just was no room to write him into Arkham Knight, which I think was okay. I think that was actually fine. Thankfully, they didn't go put him in a Batmobile, because that would have been really interesting. And that is not necessarily an underhanded slight. That's just in jest. I'm just making light jokes, because that Batmobile system is actually a very difficult system to pull off. Let me not lie. And so thinking about all of this, putting, this whole scenario together, I genuinely believe that Warner Brothers Games Montreal might be revisiting this character as part of someone in the Rogues Gallery with the children, the Bat Kids, the Gotham Knights. They're going to, in my opinion, have to face and deal with him. I even, in a scenario, see where there is that, issue where he may be looking for the Batman as well, and he will run into, the Gotham Knights in order to maybe figure out where in the world, Batman is. And because of his impatience, that may become an issue regarding the character. And, that might be something that the Bat family, the Bat Kids, are able to leverage in order to take him down. Now, yes, this is just me talking based on the video games, but is there any literature? Is there anywhere where, this character pretty much is showcased? Do we see him? And how do we see him depicted? Well, let's go a little bit to the Batman comics called the Nightfall series. Now, these series were basically, very well written, and I've actually alluded to them. This is actually where you're going to see the detective, Renee Montoya, basically come into the picture. She's a detective who's, basically in the Gotham City Police Department. And now that Jim Gordon is supposedly, gone in that storyline, I think she's going to be the link to the Gotham Knights basically through Batgirl. And so her story is basically depicted as well in the Nightfall series, which actually starts out centered around Bane as being pretty much the villain. And Bane has almost no beef with Batman other than the fact that he just wants to take on another warrior. He just has this primal nature to want to fight. That's pretty much all it is. Even in Arkham Origins, they depict it very well. They don't necessarily shy away from the theme. We can see it because Batman is just thinking to himself, like, what in the world do I have to do with all of these different people? Sure, there's a contract on them, but at the same time, it seems like Bane is not necessarily worried about the money and fulfilling the contract. He wants to disrupt and destroy the Batman, and even makes it very personal. So I think this is a nexus when it comes to a plot point, when it comes to a villain, when it comes to someone that will most likely give Batman a very, very hard time. I think this is the character that could do it. Now, again, even in the Nightfall series, there is a very interesting thing that's actually put there that we don't see in Arkham Origins. And this theme is basically showing, Bane's origins. It's showing where Bane comes from, his background, his upbringing, why he is who he is. And that's from that perspective. It's very different, by the way. Not too different. It's slightly different from the Christopher Nolan's depiction in The Dark Knight Rises. Christopher Nolan's was actually good. I'm not going to, diminish that. I'm just saying that the Nightfall series does depict it differently. And so when you just look at it and you put it together, I think this might be an area where they might be able to explore regarding the storytelling, or maybe, using cutscenes or using depictions, or using maybe some level of investigation. Maybe the Gotham Knights are investigating Bane. Maybe they're trying to figure out what the heck he's doing in Gotham City at the time that Batman is missing. And this may be something that, brings us to even a better knowledge of the character being depicted in the game, rather than just being a brute who's just always trying to run around and beat up people all the time. he's a very, in my opinion anyways, he's a very strong character. I mean, when I mean by both physically and metaphorically, and even in the sense of a writing perspective. But at the same time, I think there is opportunity to basically leverage the nature of the character even much more than he has been in the past video games. Now, I also have to credit Warner Brothers Games Montreal. I think they gave you an encounter with Bane. That's one of the more memorable encounters. I mean, from the footage here, I don't know how many of you remember, but the very first time I played this boss fight against Bane, my heart was racing. I thought, man, this guy is gonna jump out of the TV screen and snatch that controller out of my hand and just start yelling. It was really intense, the way they did the fight sequence and the way that his AI behavior basically changes to this huge monster like character that has a better sense of detection, that starts to adapt to your own moves, which is actually really interesting that they do all the time. The event style fighting and combat mechanics are actually so well done. They're actually so good that, in my opinion, there's just something about it where, you can do something once and that would trigger an event where the AI will basically, respond. The AI will basically say, that's not going to happen again. And we see this a lot, and you will have to come up with a way to deal with it. I think this was Warner Brothers Games Montreal's way of saying, we're going to give you some sort of a intense version of that fight that you had with Mr. Freeze, where he's looking for you and you're hiding and you have to take him down very sequentially, or use critical thinking to deal with the AI character. So perhaps we're going to see something of that nature in the Gotham Knights game, but hey, you never know. But I'm looking forward to seeing, what the Rogues Gallery will look like. My prediction for my villains, this is my first prediction, basically, like I'm saying, I think Bane is going to be in the Gotham Knights game, and I think there are good reasons that he's going to be there, because some of the storylines that are being borrowed from when it comes to the literature, and even some of the the past depictions of the character in Warner Brothers Montreal's own production. I think that's definitely something that will basically allow for this character to show up. So stay tuned. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Do you guys think that Bane is going to be showing up in Gotham Knights, or do you want him to show up in Gotham Knights? I mean, I don't know. I've seen some comments to that effect, and I've seen some comments, that have also said otherwise. But at the end of the day, fans usually are able to kind of make these things happen by the way they respond to these characters. And also developers are able to leverage the characters and do a very good job with them, that it makes almost no sense to not bring them back in another iteration. So these are some of the things I will be talking about in the comment section. These are some of the things I will be looking out for. There's a lot of excitement with this game, and I'm excited that you guys are also looking forward to it as well. So thank you so much for your time and audience. I appreciate you guys so much. Hopefully we'll see you in another video. Peace out.